What if, just for a moment, that voice in your head, the one that whispers quit, went silent forever? What if the obstacle you're facing right now isn't life telling you to stop, but life testing if you're ready to rise? You were not given this weight to crush you. You were handed it to mold you. Every ounce of struggle pressing on your chest a day is not an exit sign. It's a battlefield where you prove what you're made of. No man has ever stood tall without first falling to his knees. No empire has ever endured without storms tearing at its walls. No mind has ever hardened into steel without first being dragged through fire. You say it's difficult? Good. That means you're in the right place. That means the process is working. I'm not here to pat you on the back. I'm not here to excuse you or give you permission to retreat. I'm here to stir awake the force that lived beneath your excuses, the part of you that refuses to crawl back into comfort. Let the faint-hearted turn back. Let the quitters find excuses. But you, don't you dare. You've come too far. You've survived too much. And everything you bled for waits just beyond this pain. This is not where you fall. This is where you forge. So rise inside your own mind. Let your silence thunder louder than the noise of doubters. This is your proving ground. This is your hour. When the path grows hard, most men look for an escape. They whisper lies to themselves. Maybe this wasn't meant for me. Maybe now isn't the time. Maybe I've done enough. But those aren't your words. They are echoes of the world teaching you how to retreat. Pain is not your enemy. Pressure is not a warning to stop. Resistance is not a wall. It is the gatekeeper. And only those willing to push through it will see the other side. Every trial strips you bare until nothing remains but truth. Every excuse burns away in the flames. And what's left is the unbreakable core that can't be shaken. That's the real purpose of hardship, not to destroy you, but to reveal you. Andrew Carnegie once told me something I've never forgotten. Adversity is a refining fire of destiny. It burns away the weak man and leaves only the one ready to lead. Carnegie didn't come from privilege. He was a poor Scottish immigrant earning pennies as a telegraph boy. But he didn't waste those days. He studied, he listened, he prepared, and when the moment came, he was ready, because a fire of long hours, low pay, and uncertainty had already tempered his mind. And here you are, standing in your own fire. The question is, what will it leave behind? Will it leave a man who folded? Or will it leave a man so steady, so sharpened, so undeniable that the world bends around his will? Look at Charles M. Schwab, Carnegie's right hand. He was surrounded by storms of industry, competition, and men who were wealthier and more experienced than he was. Yet Schwab wasn't remembered for genius. He was remembered for resilience. When others froze, he moved. When others shrank, he led. I once asked him how he conquered fear. He told me, fear is a fog. A man must walk forward even when he cannot see. And maybe right now you are in that fog, fatigued, uncertain, doubting. But hear me, you still move, you still build, because if you wait for the day when everything feels clear, you will wait forever. Henry Ford once told his engineers to build an 8-cylinder engine they swore was impossible. Again and again they failed. But Ford kept repeating, build it anyway. He understood that resistance isn't always a world blocking you. It's your own mind asking, do you really want this? And the answer must not be words. It must be persistence. Relentless persistence. So don't you stop here. Don't break here. Build here. Because every step in the fire makes you the man who cannot be broken. You are not here to stay the same. You are here to evolve, to strip away the softness that holds you back, and to rise into a man who commands his thoughts, governs his emotions, and walks forward with unshakable direction. Understand this. The hardship in front of you is not a wall. It's a stretch. It's a universe pulling you wider, deeper, stronger. You ask for courage. It does not come wrapped in comfort. It is born when your hands tremble, yet you move forward anyway. You ask for discipline. It is not handed to you when life is easy. It is forged in the very moment your body begs for rest, and your spirit whispers, one more. You ask for belief. It grows on the darkest days, when your own mind whispers doubt, and you still refuse to bow. Andrew Carnegie, the man who shaped not just industry but my own understanding of willpower, once told me, no man becomes powerful until he no longer requires life to be easy. He lived by those words. He didn't chase the smooth road. He chose the one littered with obstacles because he knew greatness isn't born in ease. He told me once, the mountain does not shrink. You grow stronger. And he was right. Even if you don't feel it yet, even if your strength feels hidden, every struggle is stretching you. But let us make this practical. When the storm comes, and it always does, you don't retreat. You take one step, small, even invisible to the world, but forward. Progress is not made by waiting for motivation. Progress is made by acting through resistance. When fatigue pulls you down, return to your aim. Revisit your definite purpose. Read it aloud until it ignites again. Because fear multiplies in men who forget why they started. You don't explain your exhaustion. You don't beg for sympathy from those who've never built anything themselves. You sit in silence. You remind yourself of who you are becoming. And you rehearse your strength. I was made for this. Not because you feel it, but because you decide it. And then you continue. You continue when no one claps. You continue when fear tells you it isn't worth it. Because your consistency in silence, in struggle, in pressure, is a proof that you are building an identity the world cannot break. Let me leave you with a declaration. Say it now with power, with certainty. I do not quit. I rise. The unstoppable man is not the one who starts with speed. It is the one who refuses to stop, no matter how slow the road becomes. And that man, my friend, is you. There comes a moment in every journey when pain screams louder than progress. When the dream you once shouted now feels like a faint whisper under the weight of struggle. That moment is not a signal to stop. It is proof you're approaching the threshold where most men turn back and where the few press forward. Comfort, not pain, is a true killer of greatness. It doesn't arrive as a storm. It sneaks in as warmth, a soft bed on a cold morning, convincing you to stay there forever. Charles M. Schwab understood this. He rose to the top of steel not because he was the smartest, but because he refused the trap of comfort. When quotas weren't met, when men panicked, Schwab didn't hide behind reports. He walked into the fire and stayed until a solution appeared. Growth was his pursuit, and he knew growth and comfort are enemies. That's your lesson. Pain is not punishment. It is preparation. It is evidence that you are stepping out of the man you used to be and into someone greater. Most men slow down when pain increases. They justify retreat. They disguise weakness as wisdom. But the rare few, those who rise, recognize pain as a signal that growth has begun. Think of Edison. 10,000 failed attempts at a light bulb. 10,000 blows of public doubt, financial strain, and ridicule. And yet Edison moved forward. He said, I haven't failed. I just found 10,000 ways that don't work. That is not weakness. That is endurance so fierce that pain lost its power. So hear me. You are not too tired. You are too comfortable. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt. You are not stuck. You are being called higher. Lean in. Press harder. When fear whispers retreat, you roar forward. Because the man who learns to advance in pain becomes unstoppable when strength returns. Say it with me. Pain sharpens me. Comfort is my enemy. When life gets harder, I go harder. That is not philosophy. That is formation. And the man who embraces this truth will rise. You need a line of finality, a decision that leaves no turning back. You must burn the bridge that once kept fear alive and step forward with only fire at your back. Because a man who leaves himself no retreat always finds a way forward. And he does not just survive, he rises. So let us take the next step. Let us kill the illusion that there will ever be a perfect moment. That myth has crippled more men than failure ever has. It is the lie of someday. The lie that whispers, when I'm ready, when I feel stronger, when everything is aligned, then I'll act. But the truth is harsher, simpler. There is no perfect time. There is only now or not now. Nothing else exists. Look at history's giants. Edison didn't wait for permission. He didn't wait for the right team, the right lab, the perfect headline. He began with what he had, failed more times than most men would dare attempt, and rose because his failures were active failures, not failures of hesitation. Understand this well. Motion creates momentum, but hesitation creates paralysis. Every pause teaches your mind that movement is unsafe. And soon the dream that once lit you on fire becomes the very thing you fear, not because it's impossible, but because you hesitated too long. Henry Ford knew this truth better than most. He said, "You can't build a reputation on what you're going to do." Ford didn't wait for applause. He built before the world believed. He acted, and the world had no choice but to adjust. That is power. That is speed. Not speed in results, but speed in decision. Hesitation is the deadliest habit a man can form, because it disguises itself as wisdom. It looks responsible. It sounds intelligent. But underneath, it is only fear wearing a mask. Fear in a suit. Fear in disguise. And it robs men of destiny. So you must cut it out now. Someday does not exist. Someday is the graveyard of every dream. No man who ever mastered his craft said, "I waited until it felt right." They said, "I moved while it was hard. I acted while I shook. I began before I was ready." Abraham Lincoln did not wait for calm before leading. He stepped into chaos because the mission mattered more than his comfort. And that is what you must do. You must act first. Confidence will catch up later. Because readiness is not something you wait for. It is something you create by moving. Say this with me. I do not wait to feel strong. I act, and strength follows. I am not a man who delays. I am a man who moves. The time is now, because I say it is. And here lies the deeper law. Your emotions are not your master. Feelings are like weather. They shift without warning. If you let moods lead, you will always stall. But emotions are not facts. They are passing signals, not commands. And you, not your emotions, must lead your life. Andrew Carnegie once said, "The man who learns to rule himself will soon rule many." He meant emotional mastery. Acting not because you feel like it, but because your mission demands it. Edison embodied this. After 10,000 failures, he refused to let frustration dictate his path. He acted anyway, and in that consistency, he trained his very identity. That is a standard you must embrace. You don't deny your emotions, you override them. You acknowledge fear, but you do not obey it. You feel doubt, but you move anyway. You are not your feelings. You are your decisions. So repeat this until it is burned into your soul. I am not my moods. I am my mission. I do not wait. I act. I do not fold. I rise. This is not inspiration. This is training. Repetition is your weapon. Each time you repeat power, you install it deeper. Each time you act when afraid, you engrave strength into your identity. Until one day, hesitation cannot find your name, fear cannot grip your posture, and doubt no longer recognizes you. This is your rebirth. Not through a single moment of fire, but through daily, deliberate repetition. The chisel that shapes the stone. The rhythm that transforms a man. So say it one last time with fire in your chest. I do not wait. I move. I do not retreat. I rise. I do not need to feel ready. I create readiness through action. Now return to the beginning. Repeat again. Let the rhythm build. Until the world no longer sees the man you were, but only the unshakable force